Hello everybody, welcome back to episode 5 of the Running Mate Timeline, and today we're going to be going through the years of 1872 through 1892. Starting off in 1872 there is nothing noteworthy. My mistake. Actually, that's wrong. Sorry. In 1872, President Hamlin would restore civil rights to the southern states, and he does not run for a fourth term. However, Republicans do nominate Massachusetts Senator Henry Wilson to run against Missouri Governor Benjamin Brown, who is running under the Liberal Republican Party, and Henry Wilson does end up defeating Benjamin Brown 262 to 93 to become the president, the 12th president, and Wilson would win the state of Jefferson. Going in 1873, right at the beginning of Wilson's term, we see the Depression of 1873 to 1879. President Wilson would pass the Coinage Act of 1873. This replaces bimetallism with the gold standard. We would also see the Indian Wars take place in this year. In 1874, President Wilson would sign a trade agreement with the territory of Hawaii. In 1875, President Wilson would pass away, and Vice President William Wheeler would replace him to become the 13th president. And Wheeler, first thing he does, would pass the Civil Rights Act of 1875, which prohibits discrimination when it comes to jury duty and public accommodations to minorities. And President Wheeler would pass the Page Act of 1873, which restricts Chinese immigration. 1876, Colorado would become a state in this year, and we would have the 1876 election. Democrats would nominate Indiana Governor Thomas Hendricks, and he would go on to defeat William Wheeler 218 to 154 to become the 14th president. This is all because of the Depression that's currently going on. Wheeler wouldn't be that popular. And Wheeler, however, he would win the state of Jefferson. In 1877, there is nothing noteworthy. 1878, President Hendricks would sign the Bland-Allison Act, which would mint the Morgan dollar. President Hendricks would also sign the Posse Comitatus Act, which would restrict the government use of the military to enforce domestic policies. And we would also see a yellow fever epidemic, not fever, it's fever. In 1879, the Depression of 1873 to 79 would officially end, making Hendricks very popular. He would also veto the Species Resumption Act, which would have set the price of the gold standard the same as gold. In 1880, we would see only the election be a major part. Republicans would nominate the New York Republican Party chairman, Chester Arthur, as the nominee, and Thomas Hendricks would defeat Arthur 237 to 136 to win re-election. Arthur would go on to win the state of Jefferson here. 1881, there is nothing noteworthy. 1882, President Hendricks would veto the Chinese Exclusion Act, which would have restricted Chinese immigration. President Hendricks does sign the Immigration Act 1882, however, he kind of like, hey, I veto this, but I'll sign this kind of thing. He taxes non-citizens. It's pretty much an entry tax for non-citizens immigrating into the country. And also at the end of this year, the Depression of 1882 to 1885 would begin, which drops Hendricks' popularity. 1883, President Hendricks would sign the Pendleton Service Act, which ends the spoils system and replaces it with a merit system. 1884, we would have the Cincinnati Riots of 1884, and Republicans would nominate Maine Senator John Logan to face off against Hendricks, and Logan actually does end up winning this election, defeating Hendricks because of the Depression. Logan would win 245 to 160 to become the 15th president. Going in 1885, the Depression of 82 to 85 does end, which makes John Logan super popular. However, in 1986, John Logan does sadly pass away, and his vice president, Levi Morton, succeeds him to become the 16th president. We would also see the Seattle riots of 1886, which is anti-Chinese sentiment. Going in 1887, President Morton would pass the Interstate Commerce Act, which regulates the railroad industry. Going in 1888, we would only see the election, and Morton would be facing off against Alan Thurman, the senator from Kentucky. Alan Thurman would go on to defeat Levi Morton 270 to 135 to become the 17th president, and Morton would go on to win the state of Jefferson. Going in 1889, 4 states gained statehood. North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, and Washington all gained statehood from this. Going to 1890, Idaho becomes the 45th state, as well as Wyoming becoming the 46th, so those two places get statehood. 1892, there's nothing noteworthy. Going in 1892, we do see an election. Democrats renominate President Thurman. The Republicans nominate UK Ambassador Whitelaw Reid. And the Populists, who become a major party in this election, for this election only, nominate Virginia Attorney General James G. Field. And this helps him in the South, however, this hurts him in the Plain States and Rust Belt. So that's why he doesn't win, like, Wyoming and Iowa and all that. But this causes Alan Thurman to win in a landslide, 306 to 76-65, as Reed and Field are splitting the vote with one another. So Thurman wins re-election in a landslide. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to follow my Twitter @CadicPolitics. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Cadic One saying peace.